Okay guys, the lesson of the day is risk management. If you have been watching my channel for any length of time, you will know that one of the things that I like to drive home is risk management. Why is that? Because you want to be able to continue to do what you like to do and get paid doing it. And this bleeds into so many areas like insurance, workman's compensation, liability. Go down the list of legality issues. I'm going to briefly touch on some of those things. What I want to do is highlight or use this moment of my day to highlight a few of these examples. So let's take a little tour so I can set up the context. Because as you know, context gives meaning. This RV, which is a 40-foot diesel pusher, they call it a diesel pusher because it has a diesel engine in the rear. When you get to this level of RVs, they don't like to call them RVs, as in recreational vehicles. They like to call them coaches. So here I have my 8-foot ladder, which traditionally is more than sufficient to get me on top of the roof. But guess what? There's no ladder on the back end of this. So I cannot climb up a ladder from the back end that takes me right up onto the roof. But I have to get the roof washed. So how do I do this? And you'll notice that this has a little tiny extension, which is really not that little. It's another, let's say 12, I'd put that about 12 inches. Never mind that little gap. What that is a roof awning that it's all recessed. So you've got the awnings just above the windows. But then you've got the bigger awning that goes across the slide out. And then you've got this massive awning that comes along the roof that's all integrated into the roof. This makes it more problematic because it's more hardware once you get on the roof to work around. There's no ladder to access the roof with. Therefore, we need a tall enough ladder. I just know it's too tall for me to really safely. And once again, this is where I'm going to bring it back around, risk management. So, but before I get there, let's take a moment and thank Kevin Davis of the Detailer's Helper. Now this belt, thank you, talk about fortuitous timing, because here I am working on this RV and normally I'm just shoving things in my pocket. I have looked for belts in the past, but they were too cumbersome. They had like metal hardware, whatever. So with this belt, it's got this, and this is a quality belt, by the way. I am impressed. This is a heavy duty clasp, whatever you want to call it. I've got my cell phone pocket here. This is ideal because before I would stick it in my back pocket or I'd have to stick it somewhere else where I was working and chase it down, and it's just a big hassle. I've got my products. I'm going to use some OptiSeal. What I'm going to do is I have to climb back onto the roof because you've got the front end of the RV or the coach that cannot be accessed from a ladder. So I have to access half of it from the roof and then the other half from the front end off of a ladder. I've got my decontamination cloth here, my microfiber here. I'm going to go up there with some water and a bucket, and I'm just going to treat it in the moment. So bam, right there. I've got my sealant. I've got my 2 claws. I'm good to go. Very convenient. Risk management. Now I'm not worried about other things. I can purely focus on me getting on top of that RV in the least risky way as possible. Once again, I accept the risk. I understand the risk involved. And I do everything to mitigate that risk, diminish the risk. So I go about something that's risky in a less risky way. Now, don't underestimate the common practices, such as making sure that your ladder is on a very stable foundation. And I had to pick my moment carefully on this. So this ladder, because I don't have a helper today, you know why? Because this car broke down and could not get to my house. Once again, there's trade-offs for everything. I don't mind doing this by myself. It would be better if I had my helper be with me, but that's where employees come in. There's always this ripple effect. It's like, oh, I'm sick, or oh, my car broke down, or oh, I got in a fight with my girlfriend and I'm balled up in a corner crying myself to mama because I just can't stand the pain. I'm just using the moment to be a little sarcastic. So I don't have a helper. If I did, he would be here guiding me every step of the way. So it's on secure ground. I make sure that it's fully latched. And I will have to leverage myself up onto that RV, and I'm going to pull back from a distance to where my camera will not get run over by a speeding motorist, which is also yet another concern. So for example, you notice those brightly colored safety cones. Once again, risk management. Also, let's not forget my cool tunes. I've got my iPod in this other pocket of my detailer's helper belt over here, because when Darren's a happy camper, guess what? He performs work even better than normal. So I'm going to do everything I can to make myself a happy camper. Part of that is having myself prepared for food and water and my cool tunes. So I've got my bucket, my chenille wash mitt. I'm going to go up there, decontaminate the roof, and come back down. Do not try this at home. This is where you have to be cautious, because I don't want to hit the side of the paint and scratch it up. This is a window. If I was to hit this with my foot, it would not scratch it. It would be a non-issue. So once again, I'm managing my risk with as much strategy as possible. Just like that. I did not even have to touch the side of the RV with my foot. I did leverage my knee on this awning, but I checked the support bracket right here, and it was very minimal, a trivial amount. I know that this is very solid. There's support brackets right here. So once again, it's all about picking your moments with lots of strategy. To get down, it's just in reverse. I check my footing. You'll notice that the ladder wanted to tip, so every step of the way, it's about awareness. Now that you've just witnessed my display of acrobatic athleticism, I want to drive something else home to you. That is health. And I don't just mean health in the sake of vanity, so that I can look good to the world. Not that that's not an element, because you know me, one of my kings, presentation is king. Every moment you deal with society, you have a moment to enhance or diminish your authority, your reputation, your trust, the value, professionalism, go down the list. Every single thing you do. It's just most people do not realize it. You are your own advertising campaign. It's just that most of you do not understand what you're advertising to the world. I've done my best to configure it so that at every step of the way, every level, I am enhancing my trust, reputation, professionalism, expertise, go down the list. Now, when it comes to health, I believe that the balance of life is a difficult balance to get right. I personally believe most people get about 1 or 2 areas right. I try to get everything within 80%, where it's like 20% effort, 80% returns. So what does this have to do with detailing? Well, you just saw what I had to do to get on this RV. Now, some of you may say, and look at that and say, hell no, I am not doing RVs. It's too overwhelming. Well, that's fine. But some of you look at it and say like, dude, if the money's there, I'm all over that like white on rice. Well, that's how I look at it. So, physical strength. Do not underestimate the power, and it's very counterintuitive, because you know, if you're out there working, you know how tore up you are at the end of the day doing a detail on a single car, if in fact you're working by yourself, which a lot of the time I am and have for many years, as well as had employees for many years. Imagine doing this 40-foot RV by yourself. This is probably going to be a 6-hour job. Not only do I have to wash it, do some claying or decontaminating and wax it, I also have to polish out some scratches along the rear end that he caught pulling into a storage yard from some trees. So it's going to be a long ass day, but I don't care. Great working conditions, great weather. I'm getting paid well to do what I do because I know how to do it. I don't charge according to the hour. I charge according to the results that I can produce. I know that's going to confuse some of you, and that's a video for a whole nother moment, but bringing it back to health, that's where strength comes in. It's very counterintuitive to think like, okay, I'm tore up from the end of the day. I'm really going to go to the gym and kick my ass at the gym lifting weights? Are you kidding me? I'm tore up, Darren. I just want to go home and pound a few cold ones back. Well, guess what? That's why it's so counterintuitive. It does not make sense, but I'm telling you, because I stay in the shape I am, and I'm 50 years old, so do whatever you want with that number. I'm an old guy. I tend to think that many people probably look at me and think, what is this old guy doing still detailing cars? Well, once again, whole nother topic. Point I'm trying to make is don't underestimate the power of staying in health, staying fit, weight resistance training. I don't have muscles just so I can parade myself around at the beach with my shirt off. Yes, that's a ripple effect and that's a side benefit. Do not, I'm not gonna lie. Don't think that Darren's not vain at a level. So there's that, but that's just kind of like icing on the cake. Actually, that's like decoration on the icing on the cake, because the icing on the cake is so many things. You feel better, you have more self-confidence, you can leap the side of a 13-foot RV in almost a single bound, whatever you want to label it. Point is I know that when I'm working out consistently, and that includes my legs, and I know you guys hate working legs because it's so anticlimactic, because you think, hey, who checks out legs, man? It's all about the guns, sun's out, guns out, whatever. The pecs, the guns, I get it. But I'm telling you, the strength, this is your foundation, comes from your legs. This is your core. I know it's a grossly overused term in the health and industry or health and fitness. It's like, oh, it's all about the core. Got to do your core. But you know what? It's actually valid. It's true. This is your core. So your stomach, your muscles, your obliques, your quads are the biggest muscle group of your body. I know that when I go to the gym and I work it, at the end of the day, or while I'm working, it's like, wow, I've got this amazing strength. Yes, it's still hard, but it really helps. So I'm going to be driving that home into you guys more and more as time goes on. So if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, yes, they're going to look like shameless plugs, because I'm going to be, maybe ripping the shirt off to show you that, in fact, I actually practice what I preach. And I've been doing health and fitness and resistance training, which means weight, even longer than I've been doing detailing. It's one of the few areas of life that I've actually been doing longer than detailing itself. So that's my little sidebar.